Regina's speech will be Destined to Win. She grew up in Columbia. At 11, she encouraged her family to join a church. Later, she became a minister and a mother of two and a speaker with a bio already in the cloud. Regina says throughout all of her life and through every obstacle, she has always known that she was destined to win. She is equipped to empower others as they empower others. And I think that that introduction is perfect for the theme of the day.
Thank you. Greetings, fellow Toastmasters. Some 51 years ago, my destiny began at Sinai Hospital in Baltimore, Maryland. 1963 was a very special year. Many of you may know Martin Luther King Jr. led the March on Washington. But that was just a few years prior to the time that I was born. You see, Martin Luther King had a very, very special place in our home because Martin Luther King was my mother's commencement speaker at University of Maryland Eastern Shore. So my mother had this thought that maybe she would go to the March on Washington. But then she thought about crowds and pregnancy in August. I was born in November. She was like, I don't think that's going to work. So after I arrived at my destiny, my maternal grandmother came in January of 1964, and she came to live with us. And she came to live with us for almost 2 years. That was an unbreakable bond that you could never, that would never go away. She stayed with us for almost 2 years. My parents named me Regina. Regina means queen in Latin. So I thought I was the princess of the household until 6 years later, here comes an interruption to the destiny, and his name was Reginald, my one and only brother. But destiny nevertheless. So instead of being his older sister, I became like his second mother. So motherhood was definitely in my destiny. When the family moved to Columbia, Maryland in 1972, I led them to the church, St. John Baptist Church, at 11 years old. My favorite book says, "And a child shall lead them." Yes, I led them there. Many of my initial speaking engagements came from St. John's Baptist Church, right out of that church. I spoke during the Women's Day. I spoke from the pulpit many times. But one of my first speaking engagements was when I went to the Department of Health and Human Services in Washington, D.C., and spoke to a plethora of government workers during their annual Martin Luther King celebration. Destiny continued. Well, life in Columbia, Maryland was absolutely wonderful, and I attended one of the early schools in Columbia, the Centennial High School. It was not one of the first schools, but it was one of the schools nonetheless. I would be part of the first graduating class. My destiny continued. My destiny continued. I was part of the debate team. I was part of the student government. I was part of the drill team. So I always was a part of leadership and training. And when I graduated from Centennial High School, I wanted to go right across the way to Howard University to Washington, D.C. But destiny would not have that to be. I would go to the hills of Charlottesville, Virginia, to Thomas Jefferson's University, University of Virginia. And I would gain many, many relationships there. You've heard about University of Virginia. We've been in the news a little bit lately. So I would go there. I would form many bonds. But nonetheless, it was my destiny. That's where I was supposed to be. After graduating from college, I came back and I joined a church, Bethel AME Church in Baltimore, Maryland, under the leadership of Dr. Frank Madison Reed III. You see, he was a new pastor, brand new pastor, and I decided to join that church. That's where I began my destiny in ministry. Because you see, Easter Sunday, 1999, I decided that I accepted my call to ministry, and in 2001, I preached my initial sermon. Well, as destiny would have it, I would attend Howard University, but this time to get my master's in divinity, the Howard University Divinity School. And I graduated from Howard University Divinity School in 2005. What a journey began for my ministry and destiny. In 2003, my motherhood destiny began, because at the age of 39, I would have my first miracle, and that would be my daughter, Elisa. Well, destiny said motherhood is not going to end right there, because at the age of 43, I would have my son. At the age of 43, my second miracle, and his name is Antonio. Well, that's how destiny would have it for me with motherhood, and they are my joy, my life, and my ministry as well. So, at one time I had planned to run for public office. But you know what? At that time, I didn't run for public office. But when I moved back here to Columbia, Maryland in 2010, I did run for public office. I ran for public office here at the local village board. I ran for the Columbia Association, and I won both of those elections. Currently, I work in Howard County State Government. I worked for the state of Maryland before that. My destiny has been faced with challenges, but nonetheless, it was my destiny. It began on November 7th, 1963, and I'm destined to win right now, today. Thank you.
Thank you, Regina. I'm glad your destiny brought you to Toastmasters. Next, I would like to introduce Camille. Can't find him, there he is. Okay. Camille has been a Toastmaster since July 2012. He came to improve his communication skills, and he has made a lot of friends here. Today, he serves as Sergeant at Arms in our club, and today he's giving his 5th speech out of the Competent Communicator book. The speech is entitled, My Journey of a Lifetime. My Journey of a Lifetime.
So, fellow Toastmasters, guests, welcome. Have you ever been in a place where events in your life don't just add up? They don't take the progression that you expect them to take. If you haven't been, I have. The last 4 years of my life, I've been just like a roller coaster ride with so many highs and so many lows. That includes buying my first home, passing the foreign service test, but not making it through the second phase of the process. My career not being where I wanted to be, and then walking away from a toxic relationship / marriage. Anyway, I am in public. I maintained an unfazed persona. Nothing can get to me. I'm still standing. But privately, I questioned myself. I retraced my steps. Where did I go wrong? Sometimes I read self-help books. Sometimes I cried to sleep. But in public, I maintained an unfazed persona. So I tried everything. Left with no option, I decided to do one thing, which I should have done from the very beginning, lean on my faith. As a Muslim, for as long as I've been an adult, I've practiced the 4 of the 5 pillars of Islam. So, the 4 of the 5 pillars of Islam. For those of you that don't know the 5 pillars of Islam, the first pillar of Islam is the Shahada, which means profession of faith, which means there's only one God, and the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is his messenger. 2, pray 5 times a day, which I did. 3, give zakat to the less privileged and the needy. 4, fast for 30 days during the month of Ramadan. I did that. And the 5th one, perform the Hajj once in your lifetime. The Hajj, as we know it, is a manifestation of unity amongst all Muslims across the world. Growing up, I always thought going to Hajj was just for young people, for older people. Older people. When I say older people, grandmas. So I thought, why would I go to Hajj? But with the highs and the lows, I decided it was time for me to make the Hajj. Step out on faith and remain on faith. So I decided to make the decision to go to Hajj. In my mind, I thought of it as a vacation. So I called two of my good friends and said, let's go to Hajj. We're all in our late 30s, let's go to Hajj. They all initially agreed, and all of a sudden, it was like a month or two to the Hajj. Mysteriously, they both said they're not going. At that time, I realized, well, it is actually my time to go to Hajj, and I'm going by myself. So my journey started from Dallas, Virginia. Took me to Istanbul, Turkey, to Saudi Arabia. It lasted 3.5 weeks. The pictures in the background is my entire 3.5 weeks. And I'm condensing it into 5 minutes sleep, so the visuals are in the back. So, 3.5 weeks in Saudi Arabia with 5 million people. 5 million people in a city as twice the size of Columbia, Maryland. 5 million people. It takes a lot of humility and patience. And one of the rites of the Hajj is to actually do the rites that the rituals the Prophet Muhammad performed during this time. In doing that, imagine 5 million people trying to do the same thing at the same time. Your patience is going to be tested. You have to remain humble. And you just have to let everybody just do it at the same time, understand that everybody's trying to do the one thing that they should do. One of the things that I realized my entire 3.5 weeks was that I was blessed. Something I never pay attention to. It's always, I want this, I want that, I want to get to this goal in life. But truly and truly, I'm actually a blessed human being. Not for the amount that I paid to go to Hajj, or the comfort that I experienced in Hajj. Not for any of that. Compared to other people coming from other parts of the world, some people were sleeping on the streets just to do the one thing. Also for me, that 3.5 weeks was the most eye-opening and humbling experience of my entire life. My biggest takeaway, from the trip was, one, to reconnect with God. One, to make peace with myself, to understand that you will get highs and lows in your life. And want to be able to know that things will happen when they're supposed to happen. You can't force it to happen. You can do the right things, but they will only happen when they're supposed to happen. So, my biggest takeaway from the experience was that I have a plethora of blessings. I need to remain grateful. I need to remain humble. I also need to understand that there's no testimony without a test. Fellow Toastmasters, that's my trip of a lifetime.
Thank you, Camille, for taking us on that journey, in the pictures and also the journey of your heart and your personal experience. Next, I would like to introduce Diane. She's our area governor. She initially joined Patuxent Toastmasters, but then started her own Toastmasters group called Ola with her husband, Renee. And today she had a root canal, and she is one determined Toastmaster to come and give a speech tonight. Thank you.
Fellow Toastmasters and welcome guests. One night I was watching an old World War II movie. And in the movie there were two soldiers. They were coming out of a bar and they were both smashed. One of them started to cry and the other one put his arm around the first guy and he said, "Don't worry, buddy, nothing's gonna be all right. That's me. Nothing's gonna be all right. I mean, eternal pessimist. Even if things are going okay now, they may not be going okay later. But something changed the first day of this year, on January 1st, 2014, I was watching the Today Show. Savannah Guthrie and Al Roker were interviewing the author of the book, One Word That Will Change Your Life. The author's name is John Gordon. Gordon said, choose one word, just one word. And all through the year, you have to start on January 1st. And every day of the year, focus on just that one word. And it will change your life. And I could hear my cat Coco telepathically saying, Diane, I know the word for you. Now listen, you're too depressed. Renee has pneumonia. You're a crybaby about your pain from your knee surgery. And I died, and I know you miss me. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to start chanting, happy, 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 and log on to a website called Virginia Siamese Rescue and tell them you want to adopt a cat named Tico. He looks just like me, and I'll morph into him. And you can be with me again. You can give me treats. You can comb my fur. We'll have fun. So I did. I started saying, happy, happy, and I logged on. 2 weeks later, Tico was mine. One day, Tico was sitting in my lap. I was combing his fur, and I could hear both spirits, Tico's spirit and Poco, both talking to me. Two spirits and one cat. Tico said, Mommy, I'm so happy being here. And Poco said, Diane, go get me some treats. I said, look guys, before I do that, I have to tell you something. I don't want to leave you, but Renee is insisting that we go to a Toastmasters conference in Dover, Delaware. We're going to leave Friday afternoon, and we'll be back late Saturday night. Now you guys are going to be okay without me, aren't you? Tico said, no. And Poco said, look, don't go. And don't even think about putting me and Tico in a car. You know I don't like car rides. I said, I'm sorry, guys. I have to go. Poco said, psst. And Tico said, no. So we went. I could hear them telepathically telling me to come home. But I kept saying, happy, happy. Right before the conference started, Renee and I were in the elevator with a guest speaker, Darren LaCroix. And I was telling Darren about my word, happy, happy. And he said, I've got 2 words that I chant. Mine are stage time. So the elevator doors opened, and we were just about to get out to walk to the conference room. And the motorized cart that Renee was on got stuck, and we couldn't get out. It was blocking the entrance and exit. And I started hyperventilating. I said, nothing's going to be all right. And Darren said, Diane, relax, breathe deeply. Now chant your word, and I'll chant mine. So I said, happy, happy, happy. And Darren and Renee were trying to lift this humongously heavy machine. Darren started chanting, stage time, stage time, stage time. And Renee was chanting, please, please, please. Finally, they did maneuver this monstrosity out of the elevator. I started chanting, happy, 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 and really feeling it. So we were walking to the conference room. I said, Darren, wait a minute, I have to telepathically communicate with my babies. I said, Poco, Tico, look guys, everything's going to be all right. Mommy's in Dover, Delaware, but tonight I'll be back home with you, and we'll all be happy, and I'll give you treats and comb your fur. Just be like me, be happy. Friends, my life has changed. All this year I've been chanting the word happy, happy, happy. I've decided to retire at the end of this month. That'll make me happy. No matter what rolls along, I'm happy. Today I was in a dental chair for 4 hours. My back and neck are stiff. I feel like a soldier. I'm going to have a hysterectomy next month and a left knee replacement in February. But man, I'm happy. Because I know how to roll with the punches. But I can only chant my word of happy for 3 more weeks. 3 weeks from today starts the next year, January 1st. So I have to find a new word. So today, Tico was sitting on my lap, and I was calming him. I said, Tico, Poco, I like the word kindness. How about that one for 2015? And Tico said, Mommy, I don't know. That's a strange word. And Poco said, Diane, that one won't do. Let's think about it. I don't want to hear kindness, kindness, kindness for a year from you. So we brainstormed, and we came up with my new word for 2015. It's going to be meow. And friends, what about you? Now, I'm proof that one word, just one word, will change your life. It changed mine. Think about it. What will your word be? Mrs. Toastmaster?
When Diane talks, I'm never really sure whether she goes home and talks to her animals. And I'm thinking what my word will be. I had fish, so I think it'll have to
Speaker Regina Clay is Jim Bartlett. I wish I knew how to introduce people the way Jim does. It's as if he's chomped up somebody's resume, he's folded in their personal qualities, and he presents it to everyone else. And I just love and am envious of that. Jim Bartlett.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. Fellow Toastmasters, guests, and Regina, you are destined to win. I wrote down wow beside your name at the very top of my sheet. Regina, it's a real pleasure not only to introduce someone's first speech, but also the icebreaker is an introduction of you as a person to the group, and you succeeded very well in doing that. The icebreaker is also more about the strengths that you bring to Toastmaster than looking for faults or weaknesses or anything else. It's all about where's your starting point? And I must admit, my starting point at Toastmasters was probably down here. Yours as well up here, very much so. And when I asked you, what were your goals tonight? And you said, just to survive. Well, I'm going to talk about your speech structure. Talk about a suggestion for improvement. I normally wouldn't do that, but you've come in here at such an advanced level, I'm going to do that. And then talk about your speech techniques. Now, when it comes to your speech structure, Toastmasters says you have 2 choices. You can either chronologically go through your life or pick an event that you felt says the most about yourself. Well, you chose the chronological route, but you did it very clear with a clear structure. And the glue that held it all together was the concept of destiny. That worked really well to tie all of these events together. And I wrote them all down. And I think you probably could smell my pen burning because they were coming so fast. You took us on quite a journey, and it was sprinkled with humor, which was great. What did I like about the speech? It had a lot of humor. Now, suggestions. I think more than anything else, it was pace. When you first started your speech, you came out of the blocks really fast. Really strong, but really fast. And quite often, Toastmasters, when they first start speaking, the first minute, they're speaking quickly because of nervousness. And then you settle down to a really nice pace, and it was great after that. So just the first minute or two, the pacing could have been a little better. Now, when it comes to your speech techniques, you were worried about using your notes. You used them very well. You took a peek once in a while. I was looking for it because you did bring it up. But really, you dealt with your notes very well. Your volume, you filled the room with your voice. I know everyone heard your voice. It was great. Not too loud. strong. Your presence, you had great presence, great posture, your hand movements were like an experienced Toastmaster. And you also moved forward to engage the audience, which was great. That was really great. And what I liked most was you had an enthusiasm and high energy throughout your speech. But these are the strengths you're bringing here tonight. Everything that I said in the speech technique, those are the strengths. That's your starting place. So you're really going to do great things in here. And my conclusion is that destiny brought us a really good speaker, a very fine speaker, and you certainly did much more than survive here this evening. And you certainly are the queen of destiny. And,
Our second speaker was Camille Dada, and evaluating him this evening is Lou Saunders. Now that Lou has finished getting his doctorate, we're getting to see him so much more often, and he's been a wonderful and consistent evaluator for us. So put it together for Lou Saunders.
Camille, would you stand, please? That's Camille. Camille did a fantastic job because I am interested in religion, Baptist, Muslim, because my son-in-law, I believe, is a Muslim, but usually they don't talk to them. But it's the first time that I had the opportunity to understand the stages that you must go through. But really what got me is Camille was saying that he lost his girlfriend and his heartbroken. You know, I had a tendency to believe that a Muslim could have more than one girlfriend. And maybe that's not true. And I understood that because I think he will get over it because he will have the opportunity for many more. Camille, I really, because we had to look at your gestures, your movement, your span, your eye contact, how you used your hand and your gestures in that particular situation, that you passed the fine colors. I would suggest that perhaps you could take your hand out of your pocket sometimes, and I would suggest that perhaps this particular screen could come forward so everybody could see it. You did a fantastic job, and that is my conclusion to the evaluation.
This third speaker we heard tonight was Diane Heath. And her evaluator this evening is Jill Levesque. Jill doesn't have the same credentials as these other two. She hasn't gone through her 10 speeches yet. Close. I better be here for number 10. But she always delivers, and delivers with energy, sincerity, and her own brand of passion. Help me welcome Jim.
Madam General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, and of course Diane. Change your life with a word. And as Diane said, this year's word, happy, happy, happy. Tonight I'd like to evaluate through what I heard, what I felt, what I saw. What I heard was nothing is going to be all right. And the two voices of the cats, there's so many different variations that Diane will take you through in each one of her speeches. the personalities, you heard the personalities of the cats. Oh, the soft, kind of meek cat. And then the bossy, harsh, I'm going to tell you how it's going to be, Mom cat. You could feel the creativity in Diane's speech. She is self-depreciating, she's spiritual, she's telepathic. Communication was obviously given to, was presented in a way so that we could roll with her punches and, you know, feel what she was going through, especially now that she's actually had an actual root canal today. And then she's telling us in the future, not only is that, she's going to have a hysterectomy and another knee replacement. How do you not feel bad for this lady? And she's talking about happy, happy, happy. What I saw was her gestures were natural and good. You would feel the drunkenness. I knew you just kind of went into that root canal medicine. You did that drunk just perfectly. So the moment on the elevator where Diane always twists and kind of weaves her speeches so that they all come together in a crescendo. And that moment in the elevator where she's chanting happy, 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 and the other person's chanting too, and the cats are telepathically communicating all at the same time while they're trying to move this one piece of machinery, just kind of brings it all together, and how she you know, works with her speaker and her cats and her what she's going through emotionally. Poco and Tico are definitely welcome in any of the speeches. They add the humor in every single speech that she provides. So, in the last weaving that she does is she brings us all together with actually challenging us to become better people and making us think about what are we going to do to make ourselves better in the new year? What's that one word that's going to bring us to that? So even though we've got this creative, sometimes weird speech that's going to actually entertain us, it's also challenging us to be better people at the end. So congratulations on your upcoming retirement. And meow.
It is now your turn to vote for Best Evaluator. And your choices are Jim Bartlett, who evaluated Regina Clay, Dr. Lou Saunders, who evaluated Regina, and Jill Levesque, evaluator for Diane Heath. And if you are so moved, write comments for the evaluators as well as the speakers, because we will find that very helpful. And table topics, thank you. We're now going to go into the area of having our grammarian do an evaluation, give an evaluation. Don't come up so quickly, I have things to say.
So do I.
The purpose of the grammarian is to give everyone who came to the lecture feedback on grammatical issues that may have occurred and filler words that both the grammatical and the filler words can be distracting from the power of your speech. So it's very important for us to know what they are. I would like to say before someone comes up here that Ken Schaefer made an excellent suggestion when he was grammarian, and that is that the grammarian also is in a position to comment on the strength of the language used. And not just every terrible thing that happened. And Ken came up and did offer that a few times when he was in that role, and I think that's excellent. Here he is still.
Thank you for that extended introduction. I do try. I always like to give positive feedback on good use of the language, and today we did pretty good. I don't think there was a lot of filler words. There were a lot of filler words, and I did catch a few grammatical issues, so I'm excited about that. So we got through this. Jill, I got nothing for you at the beginning. Jim, nothing. Marcy, throughout. You were worried, but I thought you did a good job looking forwards. 2 ums, 1 so, and an oiga. It's very positive. It was a wonderful thing to say, so that was good. Mary had 2 ums. Regina had 1 like, and then I got this from Ken Schaefer. This is the Ken Schaefer day, shout out day. But you said 2012, 2012, 2005. And I'd never thought of that, but I think that's incorrect. According to Ken, that's incorrect. It makes sense. You want to say 2012, 2005, unless Ken's wrong. But I'll go with Ken on that one. And also, Marcy, you said 2012. So Marcy also had a word of the day, as did Regina. Camille, I got nothing. No errors for you. Diane, nothing. Sabina, nothing. Daraj, nothing. Richard had 2 uhs, and he had an I too also. That's redundant. Either one, I too, or I forget the full sentence, but I too or I too and also redundant. Ken, I got nothing for you. Yaya, you're a guest, so normally you did a great job. You had 1 and you said Hassan. Is that your son's name? Hassan? Hassan. You said Hassan and me, which was correct, but then you said Hassan and myself. So again, I can't tell you why. So be careful. Jim, I had nothing for you. Lou, nothing. Jill had 7 ums, 2 uhs, a you know and a so, and you also said self-depreciating. I think it's self-deprecating. I don't even know if self-depreciating is a term. It might be like a stock. A stock can be self-depreciating. For your house, or whatever.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is what I have. I think very good job. A lot of people spoke very well. And I'll give it back very with brevity to our general evaluator.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much, Richard Hunt and Jill Levesque, for making Phil so happy tonight. It was starting to be sad for him, but he had your comments, so that worked out very well. I'm going to give my general